Oh, Maddie, welcome to another magnificent episode of The Insiders. I just got caught out by that old chestnut on the Zoom password where a capital O is actually a zero.
Yeah, I saw it and wondered.
You wondered how the old Alzheimer geriatric would handle that one,
I think everyone
mate.
struggles with it, mate. Everyone.
Mate, I'm telling you, I reckon there's so much that's gone on in the surfing world since we've last spoken, and even probably before that. That I reckon if you put me in a shed by myself, I could talk for a good few hours.
Same, because there's like things that have happened, and then there's also other things that I've thought myself that haven't happened, but that I'd like to discuss. And I was trying to like think to myself, like, what are we going to talk about? And then I was just like,
Don't
everything.
you worry about that, mate.
Yeah,
Let's wait. Let's take a deep Wim Hof breath first, and let me get this off my chest. Had this crazy session last night. I've met this guy surfing a couple of times over the last few years. You know, like you just meet those random people and then you meet them again.
yeah.
So I've got this random guy who's got this artificial intelligence startup thing going on in San Francisco or something. Like he's French, he speaks English to me. Maybe he listens. I hope you do, Francois. And we had this session at Bourdain's like a year ago, like a sunset session. It was just like going off. Last night wasn't so much going off, but now this I think was very important. Apart from I don't know if it's age or what, but I didn't feel like I was surfing any good at all. The waves were kind of really nice without being incredible. But it was a sunset session, and the whole sky went like a
Orange and
trillion
pink.
different colors. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then pink. It was just radical, and there was no wind, and it was just me and him on one peak, like no one, just me and him,
that's
which is nearly unheard of.
it's so strange because on Wednesday. It was like cooking here. It was like 3 to 5 foot, um, light offshore winds. And my friend who his name's Rich, he doesn't live anywhere near me now, just happened to be working in the area on Wednesday, and we went for a surf, and we paddled out in a crowd, and then both of us caught like one long left each, and we like paddled back out and noticed this peak that kind of nobody was on, and it was sunset, and the exact same thing. Like it was just me and him. Well, it was me, him, and two other people, but the sky just went orange and then pink. Yeah, it was mental. He scored it. He got lucky. Well, he didn't get lucky because it does get good around here, but he got it on one of the best days of this year, I reckon.
It's just it's one of surfing's most. I
Oh,
mean, you got the sunrise as well, but the sunrise I struggle with. Well, I don't get so many of them anymore because like it's just hard to get there early here and
yeah.
risk it against the cold and there's long days and
Well, also like with the sunset, everything's actually warmer because like it's had a week to
yes,
warm up as well and stuff, hasn't
your
it? So
body's warmer, your brain's
yeah,
warmer.
and
Hey,
I was on a high after that session for like that whole night, probably the whole next day as well, just like fully just frothing.
I got back to earth today because like, you know, by the time I got home and had dinner, it was and sat down, it was 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. And you try and wind down with a bit of digital time. And then, so like, I didn't wake up till 8, and then I had to go to the coffee shop. And so I missed the early, and then the coffee machine broke down. I had to go home and get another
Oh,
one. And I just missed it. I went onshore this afternoon. So I was a bit, but you know, you just got to take every moment. for what it is. What I want to bring up first, because we've got some other sick stuff to bring up, but I think this is super interesting to bring up. What do you think of the should I stay or should I go? Love me, hate me, je t'aime non plus, Kelly Slater saga, who during the boost, is it boost? Was it boost Gold Coast Pro? I heard that he
Bonsoy.
Bonsoy. He'd said to Occy he's going for the 3 for 3, which means he wants Pipe, Cloudbreak, Tahiti, wildcards for the next 3 years.
Well, the thing is, I think he's going to get. I would be surprised if he didn't get Pipe and Tahiti for as long as he wants, because Pipe he has to be in. Like no one's going to argue with that either. And Tahiti he sponsors, so he's going to get the sponsors wild card every year.
he's he's just it's just it's not that it's a farce, but actually, like I think the big social media outpouring, and even I wrote a small piece which I've since archived, um, was obviously because wildcard or not, he's no longer like in the top 22 on tour. He's just a dancer in the shadows.
Yeah, yeah, and I think for me the where it really hit home was when he surfed in his heat at Snapper, and actually no disrespect to the people that were in his heat, but they're not the world's best, as in they're not on the championship tour. They're only one under, but that means they're not the world's best. But he even his turns and his maneuvers looked like they don't look like they've got that much speed or spice to them, even stacked up against I think he had George Pitar and Mikey McDonough who won in the end and stuff, that he just didn't look good, basically.
I
Um
thought he looked good. I thought it was just a different style of surfing, and
Yeah,
like I don't
yeah,
I don't I don't
yeah,
think
sorry, yeah.
he
I wouldn't say he
I don't
didn't look
think
good, but he didn't look it's just the surfing's just not going to score points in comps now.
I think it was another nail in the coffin for me on why not to surf twins because
Well,
he
in you know,
can't get that speed drive off him, and if Kelly can't get the speed drive off him, no
he's not
no one
surf,
can,
but he's
no
not
one
surfing
can.
a twin fin either. It's not a proper twinny.
No, well, it's 2+1,
And
same sort of
even
deal. You
yeah,
got
but
big
even the
side
outline
fins.
of it, even the outline, it's not a prop. Like if you're gonna surf a twinny, go full
No,
send and commit. But yeah,
but I think the best thing, the funniest thing I read out of all the stuff was from Chas Smith. I sent that to you.
yes,
Yeah, I love how ironic he is. How he's he said, "Oh, I forget what was the gist of it, but then he said, but poor old people like Martin Potter feel pity for him because he wrote a thing. He goes, it's not so easy for the old people to understand Kelly's
yeah,
retirement games." Oh, that was a classic.
yeah. Oh, for sure. I think like I think the whole thing's a bit weird. I've said it a few times, like, and actually,
He was in a heat within a week after it, straight
yeah,
away at the Goldie, and then like
a-
celebrity heats, and then
and he's never once said the word retirement or I'm retiring. He just said he's no longer competing on the channel. What's it the elite level,
the
basically.
qualify. Hey, good luck for Kalani. I hope she's already interviewing um
Nannies.
au, au pairs and
Yeah,
nannies.
yeah,
Like as if they're not going to have like one or two full-time ones. Like I would,
yeah,
because like you think like he's not going to. Like, it's like Toledo who said he wanted to spend. He took the year off so he could spend time with his family and everything. Like less than 10 days later, you see him going on a surf trip. They're home
yeah,
for 4 days and see what it's like changing the nappies, taking the kids to school, like doing what other real people do, and they quickly run. No,
yeah,
kudos to them. Like, if you can get away with it, go for it.
yeah. But
I
then
don't. I don't think he's going to miss any swell that he can physically get to,
No,
ever.
probably not. Probably not. But like that's where like there's an element of like respect that comes to it and not as well because like for example Scotty Scheffler who's a golfer he was leading in the Masters and his wife was due to be pregnant and he said at any point of any round he didn't care if he was walking up the 17th on the last day with a lead as soon as he got the phone call he was walking off the golf course like
And did he?
he didn't get the call the kid was born like a week later so he was all right. But he said it like four times, like every morning before his round, like they do the interview and stuff, and he was saying it, and um, like yeah, it's obviously it's harder, but because of where they are in the world, but
You don't reckon he was just selling him up for sponsors, selling himself up?
I
No, he
don't
was
think
for
so.
real. He was for
I've,
real. He was for real.
he's plenty fine for money, so I think he's okay. But I think when I've watched quite a few of the things I've seen since Kelly's fallen off a tour, um, where he gets quite emotional when he talks about things he's had to sacrifice and stuff like that. And I think to myself sometimes, like, like, especially like since he's won world titles and then stopped winning them and stuff, you know, like it's a bit weird that he hung on for that long, still sacrificing everything. Um,
Has he sacrificed as much as some of those like volunteer doctors that spent a couple of years in Africa to combat and fight AIDS and famine and people going into like mudslide, landslide,
yeah,
earthquake
no.
areas?
Well, it,
Different sort of
it
sacrifice.
depends if it depends on their situation and stuff and his, but I guess the thing is if you compared that, is like at least they're doing it with a great cause in mind. Whereas for the last like 5 years, everyone's been saying, Kelly, just get off tour. Like even 2 years ago, he won pipe, just give up. But
It could have been.
he said again in multiple interviews, he was basically dangled with a carrot of going to the Olympics in front of him. And then they changed that this year, and that's why he can do anything about it now. So
I think he's more like kind of an ostrich in the with his head in the sand to what people think of him anyway. I don't think because
yeah, maybe.
there's also enough people that think the opposite, if not more. Keep
Yeah.
going, go forever. Like
Yeah.
you retire, like retirement age in America is what, 65? What if he can make it to retirement still doing the
I mean,
like
he's gonna be fine, isn't he? But yeah,
like for fun, if they wanted to, they could nearly give Michael Ho a pipe wild card. I mean, it would be cool.
I
Uh,
mean, we've said this. I think like if you listen back to the 101 episodes we've now done, we've said this on multiple times. The wild cards, especially now that they've taken away the ability for wild cards to qualify or anything like that. Yeah, 100%. Like when they gave the wild card to Hedgie at Chopes was so much better. And like 100% agree. Give a wild card to Kelly at Pipe or to Michael Ho at Pipe or to like when they used to give Jamie O'Brien wild cards or Clay Marzo and people like that. Imagine Clay Marzo in Fiji. Mental.
yeah, it'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? So, what did you think of the Legends heats on the Goldie Comp before we get to the Goldie Comp?
Yeah, sick. Like Steph Gilmore. Like I miss Steph on tour, but then at the same time, it's like I don't really want to see her back on tour because she just serves so good. She doesn't need a rash on. She is unreal. Mick looked real good. Uh,
Didn't he? He's
yeah,
good.
but it was just sick.
Hey,
It was sick. It was just sick to watch. Um,
did you see Fisher surf the dick?
I did. Fisher was hilarious, to be fair. That heat was a little bit more funky because the waves weren't as good as the other Legend Heat Day, as clean and stuff. But um, yeah, I thought it was mental. The birds in the lineup as well. They're those birds are nuts. Did
So no, I didn't see the birds. What do you mean, like seagulls and stuff?
Yeah, they were like pelicans or whatever, and they were like literally going over the falls and stuff. It was mental.
I didn't see that. I'm going to have to look it up.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was so weird. There's a
They
wave.
all want, everyone wants to get amongst a bit of the super bank, man.
Yeah, there's a wave that Mick Fanning takes off on, and as he takes off behind him, you just see this pelican or this bird just go straight over the falls and get absolutely blown to bits.
Do you reckon he could have won a couple of heats out there, Mick?
Yeah,
I think so too.
100%, 100%.
And he just comes straight off a knee injury.
Yeah, he's still recovering, and I think Mick could, and I think Steph would have won the comp, but
On the women's side,
yeah, and the men, probably on the men's as well if she wanted to. She's so good.
hey, so and then we'll get straight to the start of it. But well, I've got this in my head because my mate said it to me. Did a 16-year-old girl get the best barrel of the event? And I'm just going to throw out no, I don't think so because I think Josh Burke's barrel in his semi or quarter straight off the bat was better. And I think if she had got that one, she would have got a 10 on that. And
I think Macy.
he only got a 9. I don't care that. I'm not trying to fight for men's rights or anything, but I just think his barrel was better than that one. Hers was insane.
Hers
There's
was
not
sick. I
did you
thought
see
Macy.
his?
Yes, yeah. I completely agree. I think she
Was
got. I wouldn't even say. I would. I found it. I think Macy's is as good as Erin's. Like Macy's one was arguably bigger. Um,
I'd have to look at that one, but
but the
again,
difference is the difference was that Erin made her takeoff look like real critical because she's going backside.
she didn't make
Um,
it. It
well,
was
yeah.
critical.
Whereas I feel like when you go frontside, it sometimes doesn't like Macy kind of like knifed it really well. So she kind of made it look a bit easier than maybe it was. Well, it definitely made it look easier than it was because it's difficult. But I saw someone put, I think it might have been Stab, say that's the best barrel by a woman ever in in a competition, and
Yeah, but it's not.
I was like so over that straight away. I was like,
They
fuck
just love. They just.
clickbait wankers.
It's no. It's more just like anything that happens today. Like
Yeah,
nothing else ever. So,
sensationalizing it. Yeah, for sure.
what's the name? Poor old Isabel Nichols let that wave go, right?
Yeah,
And she obviously should have gone it. Fucking Felicity Palmateer
amateur. Yeah,
flick writ her off the whole heat. She didn't stop writing her off
really.
the whole heat, which kind of was annoying, but at the same time refreshing.
Yeah, I thought they done the same with the Sally Fitzgibbons. No, not Sally Fitzgibbons. Who was it? They were. It was I can't pronounce her name, but it's the Spanish chick who like Nadia Espinosa or whatever.
It's Oxia.
Yeah, she was against an Aussie girl the day before, and to be fair, 15 minutes into the heat, she was getting cooked, and she didn't look like she was surfing that well. And then the last 15 minutes, she absolutely blew her out of the water. But
Oh, she rips her.
the whole heat, they done the same. They were like, it felt like it was Aussie heavy, but fair enough. What I wanted to say, one of the things that I'd thought about bringing up about Snapper is weirdly the two best surfers of the event, men's and women's, didn't win. Like there was two clear standouts in my opinion, and they didn't win.
And that is surfing for you. But okay, so the guy made it to the final. I'm pretty sure you're talking about Samuel Pupo.
Yeah,
My I thought Michael Rodriguez was like George beat him because he got
yeah,
that barrel, and Michael Rodriguez did have a classic whinge when he got his 8.5, but his 8.5 wasn't better than George's wave, which had a hell barrel. And
yeah,
it's snapper like barreling, get a barrel.
yeah,
Obviously, do maneuvers, but they got to score the barrel because otherwise things like Erin Brooks don't happen. But did
yeah.
you see a couple of those turns he did, Michael Rodriguez? You just wonder how he Well, actually, you don't wonder how he can't stay on the WCT because they didn't have Snapper on there to start
Yeah.
with, did they?
Well, and Ronnie Blakey said, I heard Ronnie Blakey say it's a funny thing. They went through the Challenger Series, um, lot what's it called, calendar, and he kind of made a tongue-in-cheek joke. He was like, all of them sand bottom like points or beach breaks, and then you go to pipe, and then to sunset, and then like, um, and he kind of made a tongue-in-cheek comment about it, and I was like, it's so true though. You should like they've just Halle Evil was on it, dropped, and you kind of feel like they should have some sort of heavy wave like event in the Challenger Series for sure, in my
No,
opinion.
but they should look at, for example, if someone like Jacob Wilcox can't re-qualify on the CT, like gets cut,
Yeah,
how is some of these other beach
yeah,
break
yeah,
warriors supposed to get through there? Like, so I read a review from Steve Shearer. He does great reviews on SwellNet
yeah,
this morning, and someone had said they've never seen Mikey McDonough go left. And I mean, I don't necessarily follow his Insta, so I haven't either. I I think he's an amazing surfer, though. I think he deserved to win that. What do you think?
mm,
I didn't. There was only one heat which I thought was a little bit stressful for me, and that's because he beat Nat Young right in the last minute. You would have seen that, but I'm just so sick of listening and talking to people with judging discrepancies. I'm just
yeah.
reticent to bring it up.
And it makes it worse because like the Nat Young one is, we won't bring it up too much. It's one of the worst judging decisions I've ever seen for how far off they're on it. But I noticed while watching the event, um, it happened with Luana Silva, it happened with loads. There was one judge who was a point under every other judge every time. It was really, really weird. It was Judge One as well, because it came up every time. Like they would show the five scores, and Judge One was like, there was a wave where Luana Silva got a 6.83 in the end, and every other judge was at like 6.5, 6.8, 7.7, 6.8, and this one judge gave her a 5. I was like, how are you seeing it 2 points different? Like that's a big like factor. I thought, but the
So
judges
basically,
even thought,
his scores never count then because if they
no,
drop the
yeah,
highest and low. Yeah, but it's just so boring talking about the judging. That's the thing. I
you're
mean,
right.
like
Yeah,
20 years ago, the judging was worse,
Nat
but there
Young
was
needed like a 7, and it's
there was no videos. That's all.
Nat Young needed a 7, and it wasn't a 7. That actually leads me on though to one of the things I was gonna quickly talk about. Um, is I was chatting to someone. I don't think that scores should be given in heats anymore.
Maybe not.
I actually prefer it if they said
Not
like
knowing.
like John versus Jack John versus Jack Robbo, paddle out, and you won't know your scores. It's the winner who's the best surfer for the next 30 minutes. Because I
I
don't
don't know
like
how that.
sometimes when
I don't know how. Sorry, Matt. I don't know how feasible that is, man.
I
How do you know? What do you do?
easily feasible. You still have judges, but you just don't tell the surfers.
But
And
you
the
might
judge,
get two good waves and just think you've won it.
there you
And
go.
if you haven't, yeah, but you haven't seen the other dude's wave.
Exactly. But that gives the
You just got
viewer
to keep surfing bigger and better.
exactly like, because for us, how many times at the end of the heat has someone in the lead got priority for the last 5 minutes and they just block someone and there's no waves ridden and it
So,
stops
for
blocking?
example, that would that be like the NBA um, final where they don't have a scoreboard?
I don't know if they have. I didn't know that NBA final didn't have a scoreboard, but
You
for
you
me,
you think that they're playing matches without a scoreboard? What about the cricket? No scoreboard, and you get to the end, and the judge goes, huh,
yeah,
"You
but
won.
yeah,
You
but
won, England."
in cricket you do that. In cricket, England get 50 overs, the other team get Australia get 50 overs. Who gets the most runs in the 50 overs? You don't start.
Yeah, but when you get to the last over,
You go
you know how many runs you need to get.
Yeah, but you could get to last over and not need any, like, or
Uh,
need too many. Plus,
You had a big,
it's also that's a black and white sport in cricket. Surfing's not. So I just think they done it in a wave pool. In a wave pool event, one surfer went, the next surfer went, and instead of giving scores, they just held up what surfer was the better surfer. And I think it could
you
work.
you didn't have a Friday night on the shrooms, did you, Matt?
Nah, I think it could work.
Anyway, well, we'll leave that with our audio nights to procrastinate. Um, so it's pretty sick. Then it's back on tour. We're in
Yeah.
agreement on that one.
If it pumps, yeah.
Yeah, but where like every single event.
I mean, it should. Like, hopefully they position it right and stuff. But it's one of it
Yeah,
snapped my.
they straight away they have a dog first year. Let's you just jigged it. It's for sure it's going to be a dogger of a year next year. They have to finish it at D bar.
Maybe, but I hope not because when it's on, it's sick.
So maybe they got to have it after the cut, which would suck.
No, because I think they won't because next year Easter is 3 weeks later, and that's
Oh,
when
I
Brexit
saw.
is.
Yeah,
So
I
I
saw
think
all that.
it's. I reckon they might move Portugal
They should scrap Portugal.
or move it. Yeah, maybe or move it to October or something. But then,
Yeah,
oh,
well,
that's
that's
after
what they got to
finals.
do. They've got to move
Well,
the finals back. It doesn't hurt
next year
Trestles. You
I
couldn't.
promise you this: next year the finals won't be at Trestles.
And will it be the first week of September? They got to move it to like at
No,
least October.
I think it might be later because of swell season. But yeah,
Hos Hossagor.
yeah. No, the
People would just blow
Quickie
up.
Festival's on.
And by the way, the Quickie Festival definitely is on. Insider info. Well, you know that anyway. And I had a meeting
Yeah,
with I had a meeting with Quicksilver when Sunday last Monday. So that was pretty interesting because they got a new um let's call it a European distributor, which is called Bon Manoir, which is just a big retail group. So they've got 500 shops or whatever. So, you know, they'll just put Quicksilver, Roxy, DC, and whatever they can in a bunch of shops. And they've got a big logisticals thing. That was pretty interesting. But the marketing and design hub worldwide is coming back to Europe.
nice.
So that just means basically the Quicksilver Festival's
Gonna be
got
on.
the stamp of approval for the next 5 years at least, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'll book Fipsies up for the last week of September for the next 5 years then.
So would you think? And I tried to say this at this Eurosema meeting that I go to, and a couple of people who are diehard WSL CT fans and hate anything that's not that,
Yeah,
and they don't understand that I actually probably watch more of it than them.
yeah.
But one of the most popular things of that comp was the Legends and Fisher Heat, correct?
Oh, for sure.
So why is there any stress about having like a festival which isn't, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, I mean,
an
I
excellent way for us to watch incredible surfers showcasing their talents.
after watching last year, which was the first year, I couldn't find. I'd struggle to have a serious conversation with someone who had a bad word to say about it. It was 4 days of like amazingness, like waves pumped. You got to see legends. You got to see like people like Jackson Doran and Sierra Kerr surfing against legends. You got to see free surfers. You got Mikey Wright, Mason Ho, who've all been on the WSL and been on the comp circuit. You got everything you needed in one event or festival, whatever you want to call it. So if anyone's got something bad to say about it, I feel like that's just a biasness and they're blinded.
If I was a lobbyist, I'd be coming hard and straight at John and Nathan to come over for a team.
Yeah,
Two, I'd be going Jack Freestone, Alana Blanchard as another team. And can you think of another? You know what I mean? They could have a
yeah,
sick little men and women, a couple team thing
yeah.
going on.
What about well, hopefully maybe this year they'll get Coco with Harry Bryant.
Macy,
They've split up. Sheldon.
Oh,
Mate,
they did.
yeah, nah, bit of dust. Um, yeah, there's plenty out there. Even what about adding Michael Ho to that as well? Like, Coco Mason, Michael, like,
Oh, sick. Do a little bit of a family thing.
yeah,
Anyway, we'll get to that. I'll have a word to Quicksilver and see if I can do some lobbying with them. Um, there was something else, and now I can't remember what it was. We've covered the fact that it's back on tour. That was pretty sick. We've covered the fact that Kelly's surfing in competition for at least until the cockroaches are exterminated. What else happened, Matt? I'm sure there was something else that happened. We should write these things down.
probably should. What else has happened since? I mean, yeah, the Kelly thing, the snapper thing. I mean, we haven't really spoke about the winners of snapper. I feel like,
Wow.
but
I think people can just watch that
yeah,
thing if they want to.
Bronte McCauley was unbelievable in my opinion. I thought she was the standout on the women's side. I thought she looked phenomenal. I'm hoping she goes good because I want to see her on tour, like
I
full
think
time.
I think the other standout was women barrel riding as well. I was
Yeah,
saying Sally got a couple of hell pits.
and
Oh,
and they were
I was going to
looking
bring
for
up
it. That was the best thing
Sally's.
about it.
Sally's like, that game where is it the rabbit that comes up and you got a sledgehammer trying
Yeah,
to knock it? That's Sally, man. Like I'm a Sally fan. I'm not saying and always have that. I think I'm Sally's surfing style fan or anything. I just think for someone who's tenacious, looked outside the box, got sponsors, played her own
yeah.
song,
To me,
and
yeah. To
she
me,
just
she was just
smokes them. She just smokes them on the
yeah.
Challenger Series.
To me, the way that I would describe, like the way I describe Sally Fitzgibbons is, I think she is like the perfect role model. If there was a 10-year-old like girl who was like, oh, I want to surf and I want an idol, I'd be like, research and learn everything you can about Sally and follow that because the way she, like how fit she is, how she looks after herself, the sponsorship work she does, what she does in and out of the water. And also every time she loses, smile on her face, like gracious, like real, like good sportswoman, with all of that. She's a complete role model in my opinion. And like you hear people say it, but she is a consummate professional.
Send a happy birthday out to Jodie Foster during the comp. I saw that at one stage. Who was I
Yeah.
think 60, who's like a legend. Like doesn't forget people either.
No. Also, not
R-
forgetting people, it's Matt Parker's birthday today, and he's been on the poddy a couple of times. So happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt. By the time you hear this,
You'll
you'll have
be a week
already
older
had
than
your
you are
birthday.
now.
Huh? Um, and I was talking about that barrel riding. Uh, do you think that the barrel beats the re-entry?
Barrel beats everything, right?
So there you go. So that's
Yeah.
good. So and there's one thing for Sally. She'll if when she requalifies, she's not going to be out a fish out of water when she turns up at pipe, is she?
No, exactly. Yeah. Like she was this year, and that's why I like want to see people like Bronte on there as well and stuff.
Who's the next big thing for guys? Because I mean,
Yeah, like
boom,
it's
we've got
it's all
we've,
repeat names, isn't it?
we've got Katie Simmers that's come in. No, we had Molly, then we've got Katie, then straight behind that we've got Sierra, who got knocked out first round in this comp, by the way. Then we've got Erin. It's like superstar time. Who's the superstar kid? Is
Yeah,
there
I
one
don't know
boy?
because
Boy,
like yeah, um, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because you got um
is that because of is that because of
I
the
feel like people get overhyped because like Jet Schilling just won the junior um
world title?
world title, and like I think Sam Pittard like is world class, and you've got people like who's that, Jarvis Earl, and but because they've been so heavily hyped, even like people like Jai Glindemann and stuff, like they got so hyped but didn't go down the comp route. and haven't gone down the comp route, that it's a hard question to answer.
Jarvis Earl didn't look up to scratch yet in one of his heats against those guys.
No.
I saw this wave of Jacob Wilcox, and I started getting like sore shoulders and like spinal and hips. I don't know how he's that flexible.
Yeah. I know. And I think like the man of the moment at the moment, like I feel like the judge is loving him and the WSL loving him is George Pitar. And his
Yeah,
like the end of his turn that like he does like an extra like talked out like little tweak thing. I don't know how he does that. That looks sick.
I think that was super interesting because George got a huge push, and I seen him. I think I seen him get a little bit of a push, not through his heats, but just like
I
you know,
think
he's
so.
get.
I think he's just in vogue. I think it happens, like his
It
style.
always happens. And
Yeah.
then when it came into the semis, I think, which was a really good reality and ego check for him, if he looks at the heat replay, was if Michael Rodriguez had got a barrel, he would have taken
Yeah.
him out
Yeah.
because he did two turns that were the biggest, I think, nearly the biggest turns of the event, kind of
Yeah.
equal to Poopy Poops. But would John and Jack been able to
Yeah.
get through to the final, you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, they're just elite, especially Jack Robbo. Like he, like, but yeah, I think both of them would because they're just on another planet.
Well, there
You've
you
seen
go.
that. That's why Samuel Pupo has fallen off tour, even though he's that good. Um,
Um, what sort of wetsuit are you rolling with you?
I was
I've
actually going to say I went actually. So I've been rocking simple wetsuits. It's a bit thick at the moment, so I've actually been wearing a couple of different 4.3s because it was too warm. But the simple suits are arriving. Their 4.3s and 3.2s are arriving in like 2 weeks. And I can't wait to get them. But I was with one of the guys last night actually. We went to a fringe surfing event where it was really sick actually. Um, it was all about like body surfing and hand planes and pipos and alias and mats and dick draggers and all of that and boogs and stuff. And like when you just go to those and you just see like the community and like basically people that just get in the sea. That's all we do. We just get in the sea. But it, like brings you all together. It was sick, yeah. And actually it was really sick because the guys at Simple just gave away a wetsuit to someone to raise some money for a stroke charity, which was really cool. So yeah, I'm rocking Simple wetties at the moment. What
as much
about
as
you?
as I love and I will love them. I've been rocking the last 2 weeks. The one Gabe Davies, thanks Gabe, sorted me out, which was a Ulix Patagonia 3.53. Now here's an interesting one. I'm a medium tall, similar to you. I've always
Yeah.
been a medium tall. I think it's a little bit long. So I'm wondering how short I probably need to, like I can see. And that's what you get with changing brands. You nearly got to go into a shop, don't you? You got to go into a shop. You got to make sure. This is what I'm telling you, clients. Be careful
Or
if you're
or
buying on
speak
website or buy two and send one back, which
yeah,
isn't good for the
or speak to them
environment.
as well. Hopefully the person working there I mean, I used to do this at where I worked and still do is,
Hey, don't think I didn't speak to him, man. I got
yeah,
sent a wetsuit. I spoke to him all right. I'm a medium tall.
yeah. I always say to people,
Normally.
like, I spoke to someone the other day, and if someone's listening to this, simple wetsuits fit very similar to XL wetsuits. So if you've got an XL suit, size it the same if you want a simple suit. But yeah,
And
it's
this,
sizing is always hard.
I'm telling you, I hope Ulix is the future for everyone as we go along too, because this thing does feel really good on the skin. I thought it wasn't going to be. I
Ulux
thought
is
it
a
was.
brand name though. It's actually a brand
Yeah,
name. If you
yeah.
dig
Okay.
into Ulux a bit more, it's not as Patagonia is not as squeaky clean as they make out to themselves to be.
I
But
never said. I never said that word. It's kind of like there's a famous Seinfeld episode where George wears a Gore-Tex jacket and that's all he wants to say. Hey, we're running out of time, so all I'm saying is
you like the
stay
suit though.
stay cool. Yeah, I like the suit. It feels good. And
Sick man.
I'm hanging to get into a 3-2 and not have cold feet.
Yeah.
I'm
And
hanging. I'm hanging.
Chope's next.
Chope's next, but we've got a little bit of time. We've got another 17 days. So thank you very much, Matthew.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.